everybody, this is Kenny the Puppy with a brand new video, with a brand new series. Basically, I'm going to be reading one of the fan fictions I've written. I've retaken this intro so many times, so I'm just going to try to shoot through this as quickly as possible. I've written fan fiction, believe it or not. I'm pretty sure everyone who knows me at least a little bit knows that. And because of that, I don't really have a life. Anyways, so, I decided that I was going to make a video where basically I just read fanfiction. I can't read. So, to better explain to you why the heck I'm doing this, let us first start off with a slideshow. Why am I doing this? Why am I reading you a fan fiction? Yeah. First off, it's easy. Y'all can't argue. Talking into a mic is way easier than talking to people in real life. I might die. You know, I think it'd be really funny if I were to die and then everyone would be listening to this as, like, a sad memorial of my past. Like, of all the things you could have watched, of all the things you could have listened to, you decided to listen to this. I mean, good on you, but it's still funny. Also, I'm broke, I don't have a job, I am an adult, and I don't really, it's kind of pathetic. So, if this YouTube channel does any good, if anyone likes this, I've seen a lot of other YouTube accounts where people are just reading fanfictions. So, if I did something like this, and I turned something that has literally just been a hobby of mine into a way to make money, that would be pretty gosh darn cool. So that's also a potential. I may as well, you know, it's something that I have already spent months of my life on this book, so I may as well share it with the world. My books are pretty swag, not gonna lie. I mean, this book in particular is one that people really seem to like, and that is why I was thinking, people on Wattpad seem to like this book. People on AO3 seem to like this book. So what if people on YouTube also like this book? So that's basically my train of thought. If you don't like it, that's cool. If you do like it, that's way cooler. So keep that in mind. And then that's kind of it. Yeah, that's literally it. So, alright. Still recording. Okay. I'm getting through this way faster this time. So, basically, the book is called The Main Villain's Daughter Wants to Save the World, and it's supposed to be a kind of cringe thing. My whole idea was that it starts off at least looking like it's a very cringe fan fiction, and it could continue to be a cringe fan fiction just depending on your perspective, but my hope was to get a cringe looking fan fiction with a cringe sounding main character and everything, to then somehow be entertaining and fun, and people are like, wow. And so I think I've succeeded in that, mostly just because I lower everyone's expectations from the start, so they think it's really cringe, and then when it turns out to not be super cringe, they're like, whoa, this is actually kind of cool. So, yeah, that's how you do it, folks. That's how you do it. So, this story is basically a slice of life story that involves a lot of stabbing. I'm not entirely sure what category it actually belongs in. I literally just think, oh, wouldn't it be cool if this character met this character and then they stabbed each other? And so that's kind of like what happens in my brain. So, I guess you could call it an action, but most of the action is just people arguing with each other, so it's kind of like a drama too. Whatever, you guys can decide whatever category it belongs into. So, it's also, if you didn't notice, a self-insert, or an X-reader basically just means you are the main character, or at least I have written ones where the reader is in there, but they're a side character. But typically an X-reader means that you are the main character. You need to imagine yourself in these shoes, just because it's fun. Like, it's a pretty common thing on Wattpad. I was purposely playing off of a million different tropes for this book. So, just for the fun of it. So, you're just gonna have to live with the fact that this is an X-reader written in a second-person perspective, which, by the way, is the hardest perspective to write in, but it's easiest for me. So, oh yeah, sorry. You died You died prematurely, meaning you are granted one wish before being sent to the afterlife. You chose to be isekai'd into the world of My Hero Academia as the daughter of All for One, which, with a copy of his quirk and all, this wish, surprisingly, was granted to you. At last, an easy life, one where you can truly enjoy yourself using your wits and skill to the fullest. At last, you can have a crack at being someone special, someone powerful, someone who can help anyone in need. What you weren't expecting, however, was to watch the world burn around you, your hands caked in blood. So, yeah. The season 1, season 2, season 3, it's all basically in the same book. I'm just splitting it up into seasons just to make it easier for your little reader brains and my writer brain to comprehend. Yes, it's cringe. Warning, it gets dark. There's a lot of blood. There's a lot of gore. There are a few scenes of child abuse. So if you are, sensitive to those things, I would say don't read it. And also a special warning to, let us continue with this actual series. Otherwise, I'm just going to be here rambling and making funny sounds. So, which we do not want. We do not want me to start making the funny sounds. So, hoping this will be a short story. Lol, it turned into literally one of my longest books I've ever written. It might actually be it's probably the second longest book I've ever written. So, just letting you guys know, and it's not even finished yet. Neither of my longest books yet are finished yet. They're halfway through, so this one is on track to becoming my longest one, or at least my second longest one, so yeah. I'm not gonna try to repeat everyone's accents, voices, whatever the heck. I'm sorry. No. Also, I do have dyslexia, so if you were not here for the last time I made an audiobook thing, I make a lot of mistakes, and I skip over and I trip over myself all the time. So, if you would be annoyed by that, you can always just read the book. You can go over to Wattpad, or it's also on AO3. You can find them. Just search up the same book with the same name, and you can read it. You can listen to AI voices reading it. I am a human. I'm sorry, but I'm going to make a lot of mistakes reading this book. But I will try to do my best. So yeah. And also, again, another warning. Yeah, sorry. There is an anti-warning, which is something that there won't be. You don't have to worry about any sexual content. I do not write sexual content. I barely even write kissing scenes just ever. So, you won't have to worry about that. Okay? We good? We good. Okay. Let's finally get into the story. You stood with a firm posture, fists clenched tightly as you stared at the Death Council, determination considered rare from people like you filling your every blood cell, making it clear in your eyes. I would like to be isekai'd into the world of MHA with All for One as my dad. Hold up. I know what you're thinking. What kind of wish is that? Well, my dear readers, allow me to explain how your self-insert came to this very coincidental decision in life. Dev. Allow me to spin you a tale of grandiose and over-dramatized angst for your reading pleasure. Ugh, clean it up! Your mom screamed at you from the kitchen after you tried but failed to hold in another vomit from the living room. Your broken leg was swollen and discolored beyond recognition by this point. Your stomach emptied of any food or water. It was just acid by this point. Disgusting, stinging acids. Your dad was at work, a very busy man as always, and your sisters were away at school. The only reason you remained was because you physically couldn't make it to the bus in such poor condition. But your parents were poor, dirt poor in fact. Your mother spent all your family's money on useless items and that cluttered the home, and your dad was too used to getting beat around to put up a fuss about it. His mother had been rather abusive as well, so he was used to it. You and your sisters had gotten used to cowering in fear of your mother as well, but this was taking it a little too far. It'd been 4 days since you'd broken your left leg on one of the many old exercise bikes, which served no purpose other than to collect dust. Your mother had screamed at you as if you should know better. If being 6 wasn't a big enough clue that perhaps you would indeed not know any better, It was she who always made such a big fuss about your gaining weight and large appetite. She made the same comments about herself as well, but especially you and your 2 older sisters, which made even less sense since you were all growing and healthy. You gagged on the foul acid taste, choked on dry tears. Careful of your broken leg, you hurriedly scooched over to the bathroom, grabbed a towel and some soap, and began your return to the living room to clean up after yourself. Bonk. Such a simple tap to your injury against the doorway, yet that small hit alone sent pangs of pain throughout your body so bad you threw up again. Are you serious, Yin? I call YN Yin, by the way, just because the slash looks kind of like an I. So I've been calling it Yin for years. So you can too. Let's go. Your mother stormed out of the kitchen. You frantically began dabbing at the stain mark you'd left behind in the carpet, eyes blurring in a frenzy, body shivering, sobs shaking your back. You haven't even cleaned up the last one. I'm sorry. You kept your head dipped, daring not to even look up at your mother. For any small movement, anything that could mark you as a defiant child might earn you a slap or worse. Blech. Again, you threw up over the very mess you were trying to clean up, falling again into a full-on cry. Ugh. You keep throwing up everything. I may as well not even feed you until you're through with this useless acting gig of yours. Your mom tossed the towel over her shoulder with a big huff. Not like she fed you much anyways. Most of your meals came from your 8 other aunts, or nice strangers who saw you staring at store food with big puppy eyes. Your parents made food, yeah, but only for themselves, most of the time at least. Sometimes they were generous enough to share, like your dad, but he'd only make you something if you asked before he was done. Ding dong! Huh? Who could that be? One of your cousins coming over to visit? Oh, come in! Your mother chimed as she approached the front door, as if she hadn't just been screaming at you 5 seconds before. Hello, Margaret? I don't know why I'm doing an English accent, but let's go with it. Your Aunt Sherby stuck her head in, smiling at first until her eyes landed on your pitiful face. Good heavens! What is Yin doing on the floor? Oh, she twisted her ankle, I think. She's been she's been such a drama queen about it, though. So pay her no attention, your mom said, though Aunt Sherby was quick to ignore her, shuffling past and checking to see how you were doing for herself. She gasped, covering her mouth when she saw the terrible condition your leg was in. You sure? It looks mighty broken to me. That's why I did the English accent, didn't I? Okay. You always liked your aunts more. This was why. It should be fine. I already gave her some pain medication, which she keeps throwing up, I might add. Your mom crossed her arms and growled, as if that was supposed to be a punishable offense. I should take her to the hospital. No, really, she's fine. The bill is too expensive anyways. I'll pay it myself then, if you're going to be that way. Come on, Yin, let's go. Lucky for you, no permanent damage was sustained other than the occasional pang, which would spike up in your leg every time weather changed, but that was very much a manageable injury. We made it through that one part. Let's go. You hated gingers. It was hard to explain, but somehow every one of them got on your nerves. Was it that you were equally fiery and quick to jump into a fight? Maybe. Was it that all the gingers you ever met turned out to be conniving bees who picked on you for your fat A and poor taste in fashion? Who knows at this point? All you knew is that they were the reason you took self-defense classes after school, they were the reason school never felt safe either, and they were the reason you had no friends. So all you could do at the end of the day was sit quietly and ignore the world around you, leading up to your drawing hobby. You like to draw a lot, actually. Trees, cats, horses, cows, endless fields of grass. All the things you saw on a daily basis. Man, my voice is so scratchy. One day after school, second year middle school, you sat out under the shade of a tree on the school campus, just drawing until sun went down. Despite being in literally every sport and school activity known to man in order to avoid going home, somehow today all those events had been either canceled or postponed, leaving you alone with your thoughts. You drew one of the school buses as it stopped on the road to pick up the small army of students. Quietly, another student walked up beside you and leaned over your shoulder to peer down at your work. Your eyebrows furrowed when long, bright red locks fell in front of your face. Grrr. Outright growling at the woman behind you. You made it clear how much you wanted to be left alone. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for my hair to get in your way. It was a new voice, an oddly friendly one, most likely faking it. The girl tugged the strands of hair out of your face, tying her bright red hair into a ponytail instead. She plopped down beside you, completely ignorant of your blatant disgust. You're so good at art. Can you draw me? She happily gasped. You rolled your eyes and huffed. She must be trying to trick you into lowering your guard and revealing something embarrassing about yourself that she can then exploit. On the empty page, you drew the quickest, crudest, most cartoonish butt you could and added an arrow pointing to it as well. The girl hummed curiously. You know who I am, right? You tapped the picture of the butt with the tip of your pencil. No, my name's Chloe, actually. You know my brother, Connor? She leaned so far forward it forced you to make eye contact. You shook your head, an uninterested no. He's the boy you saved yesterday from getting bullied, the girl chimed, kicking her legs. She was a first year, wasn't she? Strange. You don't remember saving any gingers yesterday. Just some nerdy brunette. Well, I just wanted to say thanks. You're welcome? One of your brows rose curiously. Sure was a mystery, this girl. Was she really this dense, or was she just faking it in order to get you to lower your guard? Either way, she was annoying. Well, the girl stretched her hand out to you. You didn't even consider shaking it. I'm new here, so I hope we can be friends. You looked at her again one last time. Other than her frizzy red hair, her face was actually rather beautiful, in large part to her soft, welcoming, crystal blue eyes, which hosted a warmth you never knew. You clicked your tongue and swatted her hand away. Thanks, but I don't need any friends. Got it? You returned to drawing. As the message finally sank in, Chloe stood and left. You completely lost motivation to draw, however, wandering through your thoughts yet again. Gosh, you hated gingers. Whee! Okay. Chloe kept coming back no matter how many times you pushed her away, always acting like the two of you were friends as well. She was super clingy, and that annoyed you to no end. The years counted on around the calendar until you were a graduate in high school. By then, you had warmed up to Chloe enough to consider her a friend. Heck, excluding a couple cousins, she was probably your best friend. She was also the one who got you into anime. Apparently, she was a huge weeb, so your minimal interest watching a couple shows with her was basically her love language. Her favorite anime was one she had yet to show you because it hadn't been dubbed in English and you were dyslexic. Lol, same. But her second favorite was called My Hero Academia. You could agree that the anime was enjoyable. Nothing groundbreaking, but entertaining enough. All the characters and interesting world gave you two a lot to talk about at least, which was a huge plus. What you enjoyed just as much were the fanfictions and AUs people kept coming up with online, especially the cute ones with Izuku either having a wholesome All Might or AFO dad, or keeping it canon with Izuku having a wholesome bond with his mother, Inko. It wasn't hard to imagine why you had major maternal envy for these wholesome parental figures, as your own parents were a little. Well, let's just say you already moved out. But today wasn't about anime. Today, you were finally free from school, free from the shackles of society. Mwahahaha! Chloe was a year behind you, so now was your time to shine. You drove the car down the empty road, driving above speed limit because why not? Chloe jammed in your passenger seat to weeb music, somehow managing to sing along despite all the lyrics being in Japanese. Woo! You enjoyed the thrill of speeding, Chloe at your side. Finally free, you kept repeating to yourself. You didn't have any plans to enter college either, so this really was it, wasn't it? Hey, what kind of quirk from the show do you think you'd want right now? Any of them? Yep. All for one, of course, so then I can do whatever the heck I want. Yeah! You spun the steering wheel, turning quickly down the road. Chloe screamed as you drove so recklessly. You erupted into laughter beside her. Everything would be all right. You were an excellent driver after all. As things calmed down, Chloe wheeled in relief and turned her bright blue eyes your way. Now, at 17, the teen was a beautiful young lady. You were the typical tomboy with more beef on you than makeup and pretty clothes. While you scared all the boys away, Chloe had all the men flocking to her. And boy, how fun it was to act as her personal bodyguard. Teased her about it a lot, too. She certainly was beautiful for a ginger, you had to admit. First, calm down. Second, come on, man. That one's too easy. There's also this theory that the AFO quirk messes with your mind as well, turning you into a clinical sociopath like All For One himself. I've lived with a sociopath all my life, and I turned out fine. I'm sure I'd be able to keep my morals in check. Chloe got quiet again, as she always did when you brought up your mom. Her parents were divorced, but her upbringing wasn't nearly as bad as yours. What kind of quirk would you want? Changing the subject. Overhaul, probably. Just think of all the things I could do. I could live forever if I wanted. I could also remove any scars or blemishes on my body. You could make me look hot, you joked, leaning her way. The ginger slapped your shoulder, laughing her heart out. What are you talking about, Goober? You are hot. Ha! Oh, please. You cannot deceive me. I traded beauty for power ages ago. Stop! Chloe laughed even more. And suddenly, two beings clashed on the road you were driving on, one light and the other dark. Looked like mystical beings. In an instant, darkness and light consumed the vehicle. Crash! You died. Oh, so the death screen really does pop up after death. Wait. You blinked your eyes open in what appeared to be a completely normal office room, only difference being that you were much smaller than the room and being sitting at the large desk across from you. Sorry, ma'am, for the inconvenience. Some large angelic being with a deep, gruff voice awkwardly straightened a stack of papers on his desk. Didn't look at all like how old Renaissance paintings depicted them. Oddly enough, it was more like a mix between aliens and that one fish hybrid from Zelda games. Free mint? Stretching an arm out, the thing handed you a wrapped candy larger than both of your hands combined. You blinked a few times, pinched yourself, and finally grabbed the chocolate. I'm dead, right? About that? Yes, I'm afraid you are. He folded his hands and rested them on the massive desk. An unusual death as well. It is quite common for spiritual forces to clash on Earth, but it is rare for a fight to get in the way of a human's own personal life. And for that, both the Board of Death would like to humbly apologize. You open your jaws wide and nod in the massive mint. Tasted much better than Earth mints. A long line of spit strung from your mouth as you pulled it away to speak. I wouldn't worry about it. It was a crappy life anyway. Wait, did Chloe die too? You stood up rather quickly from your little chair. I swear, I will punt God into the sun if she did. The angelic creature's 20 or so eyes widened, hands waving frantically before him. Whoa, chill. Unfortunately, yes, she did. But on the bright side, we reviewed your life resume, and the two of you both check out for entry into heaven. So at least you've got that going for you, the creature said, again straightening the files on his desk. You plopped back into your seat, exhaling a long, tired sigh, then chewed on your large mint while you pondered how exactly you were going to respond to this. The angel thing leaned forwards in his chair, hands still clasped again as he stared down at you. That isn't the reason you are here, however. Or, huh? Usually, we just send someone to heaven or hell right away, but since you, unfortunate souls, were caught up in a spiritual mix, dying before your predetermined hour, we, as part of our insurance policy, we extend an offer to you in the form of a wish. I know what I want. Already? Yeah. So where do I sign the papers or whatever? Wait a second, I still have to call in a meeting with the Death Council, and we still have to go over a lot of paperwork. What I'm trying to say is you have plenty of time to think about it. I think I'm good, though. I've actually been thinking about this for a really long time now. He laid both his elbows out over the desk, palms propping up his head. You sure? Yeah. Whew, boy. All right, just wait here for a little bit. It may be a few minutes. The angelic creature stood and excused himself from the office room. You sat there patiently, chomping away at the delicious mint. Skip to about 30 minutes later, and we arrived to where we began. You stood with a firm posture, fist clenched tightly, as you stared up at the Death Council, determination considered rare from people like you, filling your every blood cell, making it clear in your eyes. I would like to be isekai'd into the world of MHA, with All for One as my dad. It was an easy choice, really. After all, a villain such as him would at least be better than whatever the crap you grew up with, and the likelihood that you would inherit his quirk was high. Heck, having any quirk at all would be cool. Unless he abandoned you right away, you could probably even ask him for a cool quirk. What you are asking for is another life in another world. The being who appeared to be the head of the council spoke, their voice booming like thunder around the large Colosseum-like room. You know what that entails, correct? Just like within your world, there will be a thin but clear line between right and wrong. It doesn't matter whether or not you passed in your previous life. If you neglect the 4 basic laws of morality... excuse me. No killing, no rape, no thievery, no cursing or causing any such harm to your neighbor. You can expect to suffer eternal damnation with the rest of the bloody murderers. Understood? Though the threat felt real, and you took the warning seriously, you agreed to go along with it anyway. You just had to be yourself, right? After all, you made it through on the good side pretty easily in your past life, despite all odds. You just have to be a little extra careful in the future not to slip down the wrong slope. In fact, smirking, you could probably do even better than simply getting by. I'll do you one better. Pointing up at the small gathering of spirits, not only will I pass through to the good side just fine, but I'll take all those other villains with me. Okay, maybe not all of them, but you get what I'm laying down, right? The spiritual entities talked amongst themselves for a little bit. Already, you began to plot and plan how you could even do such a thing. Twice would probably be easy, just become his friend. Oh, and Shigaraki, maybe if you stopped him in time? Who else? We are willing to bless you with heavenly favor if this is your true intention. The main one spoke again. What does that mean? Plot armor? Heck yes! In the meantime, Yin, just remember that you are never alone. The ground in front of you suddenly broke apart. Below it, a new, swirling, infinite void portal. Except for perhaps the next couple minutes or so, get in. This is it. This is how you enter the other new world. It's not a trap or anything. Oh! You stood straighter, stepping closer to the edge of the vortex. Well, all right then. Thanks, I guess, and goodbye for now. You cannonballed right in. It was that easy, eh? Alright, so that was chapter 1. If you enjoyed it, stay tuned for the next one, I guess. And see you later, guys. Bye!